Hi and welcome. Welcome. This is Dr. Leonor Murciano-Luna, and I wanted to speak a little bit today about that article that I'm sure you have heard by now, the New York Times article that states in the title, did women ruin the workplace? And very interesting. I think that this is really a sign of the times that we're in. I think by the word ruining, uh, what they really are meaning is the humanization of the workplace, the humanization of these systems as they collapse, these patriarchal systems that we are seeing. We're seeing them collapse day by day, even in all the turmoil and all of the noise and all of the horrific things that we're witnessing. I think this is a very telling article that is showing us really what is happening as the feminine is rising on our planet, as the feminine is rising through each of us. Because in many ways, this these systems are based on patriarchal systems of disconnection, where the assumption is like we can function like machines. And clearly, the feminine paradigm is all about reweaving the connection, the humanity, the emotional intelligence, the intuition, the caring, the empathy, the community consciousness of coming together in these systems that are quite the opposite, that have been built where burnout is the state, where we work 80 hours a week or 60 hours a week, and that's the norm, and you are actually rewarded for these ways of being in the workplace. And so as the system is crumbling, the irony that women that are carrying this feminine consciousness more and more and more, carrying it out into the world with us because it is part of who we are, and of course part of all of humanity. But women are carrying this and now ironically being blamed for ruining the system. And so perhaps, yes, we're ruining the systems of patriarchy by just being ourselves, by just being who we are, bringing these qualities of nurturance and bringing these qualities of essentially loving, caring, um, and also the wisdom that is held in our body. And so the feminine path is about becoming sovereign unto ourselves. It's about recognizing our needs, our value of who we are, and reclaiming all these different parts of us that we've had to, in many ways, reject, that we've had to kind of leave it at the door. The softer, the caring, the more emotional, the sensitivities, the ability to use and not have to explain or reason our intuition. For example, all of these qualities of the feminine that we've had to leave outside because they have not been accepted, because they have been not only not accepted, but demonized. And in many ways, we have suffered because of these qualities of who we are. And and so as these systems are collapsing, we're able to create a reality that is the norm. That is what we're kind of shooting for here, the feminine consciousness of bringing about that reality everywhere. And so, of course, the systems of patriarchal disconnection have to dissolve, and they are dissolving little by little. And that's why I said that I really feel like this article is in many ways showing us what's happening and how these systems are crumbling, where they are trying to, last straw kind of blame us women for humanizing, for actually bringing in, weaving in these other level of consciousness that hasn't been accepted and part of our planet in many, many, many ways. And so I'm saying, yes, let us continue to grow. Let us continue to reclaim our sovereignty, reclaim ourselves. Let us refuse to walk in this path of disconnection, walk in this path of aggression, of power over, walk in this path that most of the systems we see around us are still rooted in. Let us dare to be different. Let us dare to actually feel and trust what we're feeling in our body, because our body is intelligent and it holds the wisdom. And so let us use that to be the ones that validate ourselves. First of all, validating what we're feeling, what we're noticing, our intuition, and using that, valuing that, because that is part of becoming sovereign. This part of the feminine sovereignty that is this new era. That I speak a lot about that in my blue book, The Birth of the Conscious Feminine, a new era of feminine sovereignty, because it is about us valuing and validating and ourselves and moving away from the notion that if our systems don't validate us, then there's something wrong with us. Then we're the blame. Then we're the ones that have been wrong. This has been part of the patriarchal um, thinking of the playbook for a very, very long time. This blaming the women. This is part of the patriarchal religious indoctrination where we as women are blamed and are shamed for being ourselves. And so here it is again, rearing its head as the systems collapse, that we're the problem. And so let this really light up your fire as a woman and really ignite that we are in consciousness, we are allowing these systems and making a difference in breaking down these systems. And notice where not from this article, because this has become a joke, but from our own inherited conditioning. Where are we carrying the blame? Where are we carrying the shame that has been passed on from for the last 5,000 years of this patriarchal system? Where are we carrying that within us? And take the time to feel into that and know that that has been part of the conditioning that has kept us oppressed in many ways, because we have believed it. We have turned it against ourselves. And allow yourself to dismantle that inner shame wherever you find that part of you that's rejecting yourself, that's criticizing yourself, that's judging yourself, that's judging your body, that's judging how you look, how you speak, what you do, what you don't do, all of those inner voices that are rooted in that survival paradigm of the patriarchy. And not blaming yourself for carrying that, because many of us have had to carry that in order to survive. And our mothers and our mothers' mothers and our ancestral lineage of women have had to pass that on as part of the survival in order to survive in a female body. And so we don't want to blame, we don't want to perpetuate the same thinking. We want to notice it, allow ourselves a space and time to process it, and then letting ourselves receive some grace. And if you know, if you know me, you know that a lot of the work that we do is with sound and our voice and sacred drumming. And so sounding, becoming aware, you could journal where you're blaming, where you're rejecting yourself, where you're still criticizing. Notice what these are and then sound into them. Sound, allow yourself to move through, allow yourself to feel, because sound will help to transmute those old patterns of conditioning. So I say yes, let us continue to ruin the patriarchal systems. Let us just be ourselves, continue to reclaim the feminine sovereignty within ourselves, within the planet, with all of creation, within all of creation. And may the systems continue to dismantle as the new earth, the new consciousness, this new era of feminine sovereignty takes place. Many blessings.